Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Game Time with Kit, and today we are starting a playthrough of Majora's Mask. This is in fact my favourite Zelda game ever made by quite a wide margin. Let me just knock some things up. Right. Okay, that is that taken care of. So yeah, Majora's my favourite. It wasn't for many years. In fact, my relationship with the game is quite complicated. In fact, I won't be taking a standard approach to how I play. Instead, I will be taking a speedier approach as I see it. I'm making the game easier for myself by doing a couple of things that are a little more complex. I'm hoping my brain functions well enough to do this. I started coming up with another route for the game, and I just never get to play it standard anymore. I had to learn some tricks in order to survive on a randomizer. So, without further ado, we're gonna get started. You know what? Sod it. I always call my files Link. Let's do something different today. Right, so yeah. Yeah, so obviously we're picking up from shortly after Ocarina of Time. And in fact, Ocarina of Time used to be, somewhat surprisingly, not my favourite Zelda for a very long time. Like, I was very emotional about Ocarina of Time for many, many years. And yeah, it remains a game quite close to my heart. It was still one of the first games I ever had an emotional attachment to. But I think I'm a lot more passive about it now compared to how I used to be about, you know, how I used to be 10 years ago, for example. I mean, as a 9-year-old, I think that was around the time that I beat the game for the first time. Playing it on a GameCube, well, a Wii technically, but the GameCube version. And I was actually relatively upset when I got to the end of the credits and it froze, as it was standard for a lot of games back then. Yeah. This was before the idea of a post-game. I'm not gonna lie, Zelda has never really had a post-game, which is something that annoys me a little bit, but yeah, so it's been a while since I've played completely like vanilla on this game. I do like the game vanilla as much as I do like as much as I do modded. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, I like it as much vanilla as I do modded. The only issue is it's a little bit harder to get into these days. You know, I like the flow that randomizers have. But they do make it harder to play the main game, which isn't the case with a game like Super Metroid, where you're always collecting upgrades, whereas Majora's Mask, you aren't. And that's something that's quite... It's quite unfortunate, really. Like, that it is limited, because, you know, I feel like I need the energy tanks in Metroid more than I do the stuff in Majora. So, bear in mind this isn't a speedrun as such, but it is a time-saving exercise. And one day I would like to get into speedrunning this game. But yeah, yeah, so like I say, I'm quite into the idea of speedrunning. It's just that Zelda's always been a game that I've struggled with the idea of speedrunning it, because I'm not so great at the tricks. Whereas in Mario, I have dedicated myself to learning for my own sanity. I don't know why I'm being a dumbass. But yeah, no, I was dedicated to learning for my own sanity, whereas in Majora I learn for the sake of, well, realistically, because seeing a giant chest that you can't reach is a tease. So, learning to do certain tricks is beneficial. I did at one point learn how to do the log thing, where you climb up the log the slow way, but I've since forgotten how to do it. In other words, I got incredibly lucky the first time. This segment of the game used to terrify me as a kid, and I think that's one of the reasons why I absolutely adore it. I like how scary the game is to kids. I think that we should have significantly more of that. Now, one thing that today has yielded is this magazine, which, well, I've been enjoying reading them. Also, I'd like to point out, this is my book full of ideas for videos, among a few other things. Yeah, so I am very, very much into Majora's Mask as a game. I think it's miles better than its predecessor. I think it's miles better than any of its sequels, although Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are both quite close, while still being miles inferior. I think they are pretty. I think this is as close to a perfect game as you can get in the 3D space. I think it's on par with Super Metroid, which is my other favourite game of all time. I think, upon further reflection, that is probably my other favourite game of all time. And yeah, I just think that it's a brilliant game. Like, I think it's borderline perfection. So yeah. I am going to be having such a great time with Majora, I think. Ah, shit. The idea with the video order is that I'm going to do a Breath of the Wild vid, then a Majora vid for the time being. That way I can get the two big ones out of the way. Contrast between my least favourite and my favourite. So yeah, as a kid, I freaked out massively at the Deku Scrub thing. We actually had no room on my GameCube's memory card, and therefore I couldn't actually save in Majora for a long time, and therefore I'd have to just replay the beginning, which, not a great idea when you're 5 years old and terrified. Let me tell you that now. But yeah, I enjoyed Majora even then, but something was off, and the time mechanic would eventually be something that I went from thinking was kind of neat to loathing entirely to loving entirely. And yeah, I think that is a good thing, because I think the time mechanic is a real interesting addition to Majora's Mask. I think that it is something that was utterly inspired. Unfortunately, it was inspired by abuse from Miyamoto, but hey, never liked the man. Well, that's not true. I used to have a great respect for him, but don't care. Didn't ask. Hey, Butler's son. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Miyamoto. I think he was a great game designer in the 80s and 90s. But I think that since the Wii, all he's done is cause problems for developers. And I think that it's probably time that he stopped. You know, he seems to be doing what he's supposed to be doing in charge of the Mario movie, which I think is more his area now. But I don't like him in Nintendo. I don't like him actually being involved with stuff. Yeah, no, I love the Happy Math Salesman. He's such a creep. He's an interesting fella. Okay, so tasks for me to complete before I return to the first day. I need to obtain 200 rupees for the bank. I need to obtain the bomb bag. And obviously I need to get magic power and the ocarina back. 200 rupees in the bank is probably the best I can do, but I need the 200 rupees so that I'll have a better wallet by the time that I go. But yeah, yeah, I know about the Great Fairy. Tattle, shh. I need you to shut up. Typical, isn't it? But yeah, so the beauty of this is that we have 3 days. Sorry, Cafe. Even though you're not even in there. Actually, there's a setting on the Majora Rando for it to play as Cafe, and that causes Link to be in Cafe's place, and also on top of that, okay, on top of that, you don't have on top of that, the Cafe's mask looks like Link, not Cafe. It's quite a nice change, like, but it's based on those unused Link mask models. Fun fact: the rupee that's in this crate is technically a different item. Like, it's technically a unique item. This one isn't, but that one is. Don't suppose I could brute force this by guessing the code. Okay, oh. Okay, 23 is definitely not number 1 today. Typical. Oh, also one more additional challenge for us to take care of. Deku Playground. We can get the heart piece from there. That's all Gucci Goo. Gucci Gucci Goo, Mr. I love you. Yeah, no, bear in mind that I will be readapting to this as we go along. Like, I have played Majora recently, I've played a lot of the randomizer this last few days, but it's going to be quite some time before I adapt to the slow text again. Although, that's not a good example of that. Now, technically, this magic upgrade can be obtained by anyone, aside from Young Link, as there are 2 rewards for the Great Fairy. You have one for a transformation mask, which includes Deku Link, right through to Fierce Deity, basically any non-Hylian Link. And then you have Hylian reward. Also, every single invisible rupee in the game officially counts as a is officially a unique item, which I think is pretty neat, if I do say so myself. So yeah, we are going to start the Deku Playground off right now. We've got a while, even though I'm pretty sure time moves a little bit faster in the first cycle. I don't think there's any science to that. I think I might just be seeing things. It's because you don't have the ability to slow time. But time moves as it moves. So, I don't know if we'll do the entire first cycle. I hope that we will. But what I may do is I may split the recording into 2 parts. Because unlike Breath of the Wild, I can kind of get away with segmenting this by day, for example. Okay. We don't really have to do this especially fast. By the way, this isn't going to be a glitchless playthrough. I'll be performing exploits left, right and centre. For example, the bomb hop over fences that I don't already have sorted. By the way, speaking of things across fences and whatever, I will tell you now that there is a very good. There is a I don't know why I'm being a dumbass. There is an item in every single stone on a wall. They all count as rupees in this, but there's a unique item. Okay. I'll go to East Clock Town first. On top of that, I will probably do things like the post office, if I have time, on the night that they take place on. Without the bunny hood, as I can do it via a stopwatch of sorts. And that is one of the many things I enjoy doing. Oh, God. Okay. Nice stamp. Obviously, we can't easily get out of Clocktown, nor we want to in this cycle. We have actually got better things to do. Typical me. Okay. I love how I big myself as this great Majora player, but I'm starting to practice that it's actually going to be more difficult than I'd planned for. I will say that this minigame is significantly easier as a Deku Scrub than it is as, well, as young Link. Also worth noting, Keaton Grass, as I'm going to call it, is each blade of grass actually contains a different item, different rupee, and that is why the final piece of grass contains 20 rupees. Another piece of information I obtained from the glorious randomizer. On top of that, as I don't think this is going to be relevant ever again, the song wall in North Termina Field, right by Snowhead. Yeah, Snowhead. That song wall changes at 5 intervals, I want to say. Yeah, 5 intervals. So, you have 6 AM, and, you know, there are other points in the day, but I'm going to just say the ones I remember off the top of my head, because I do it as a thing in every cycle. I do it in a randomizer. So, 6 AM, 7 AM, 8 AM, 10 AM, 8 PM. And each one of those yields 3 different items each time. Honestly, when Josh found that out, he was incredibly, like, he was shocked. Like, he didn't believe me at first. He was like, why would it even be like that? And I was like, well, I don't know, but the spoiler log right here says that I need to check the wall at these times. It's just occurred to me that I didn't actually pay attention. Okay. 2, 3. Yeah, that's what happens when I'm sat there monologuing about something. But it's all good. We still succeeded. So yeah, no, to be fair, he has asked me on numerous occasions when we've randomised this game together, why would it be like this? And it's like, I don't know. None of us really know what was going through the heads of the staff, besides please help us. Those 2 magic pots are actually unique items, whereas these 2 rupees aren't. Same, like, however, the rupees in this next room are unique items, all 3 of them. Yeah, all 3 pots in there are unique. Obviously the moons tier is unique, and all trading items are randomised amongst themselves. Like, not amongst themselves, sorry, amongst everything else. So you... On top of that, it isn't letting me check for him, possibly because it is a little bit of a bad time. Isn't that a hole? Also worth noting, where that red rupee is, there are 2 items there. Like, in that specific spot, there are 2 items. I think it's its first cycle, I can't get moneybags to appear. Moneybags is the nickname I have for the Deku Scrub that flies out from Clock Town. I will note that I actually have been calling him Moneybags since my old randomizer videos. I definitely did randomizer videos for Majora. I wouldn't have forgotten to. I'm more trying to convince myself than you guys. So, yeah. I had considered doing the 3D Project Restoration mod, but I don't like Majora 3D at all. I think it's in every way inferior to the original. Like, don't get me wrong, the additional time travel precision is nice, but like, I'm a bit traditional when it comes to stuff like this. Like, obviously I'm traditional when it comes to Zelda anyway, but like, it's one thing to add a touchscreen on, that's fine. I have no issues with that. You know, I will mod in like D-pad items and stuff, which, by the way, should have been a thing to begin with, because there is absolutely no good reason not to have D-pad functionality in a N64 game. I can't deal with Sakon on first night because I'm Deku Scrub. The only form of Link that can't, as it happens. Tiny bit of trivia that we are never going to fucking need. So, you see these owl statues? When you strike it with anything that will arc like a sword, aside from Deku Link, obviously, you can obtain... Let me see if I can do this. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Two, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Okay. Midnight. Wasn't 100% sure, because I know you can't do most of the events in Clock Town as Deku Link, and actually you'll notice that the stuff you can't do as Young Link is specifically the stuff that requires you to be, like, basically the stuff that yields masks. The one thing I did forget to do was visit Andrew, but that's fine. We have absolutely no use for a rune key at the moment. Although, to be fair, we don't have any use for a rune key. We could have visited the one room and gotten a piece of heart, but it's fine. And actually, in the 3DS version, you can't do that at all. We don't need to do the bomb shop with any urgency because we can't actually fix things for them. Right. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to speak to Deku Scrub guy. Okay. Also, the central part of the clock, when you shoot that with anything, it is a item. I don't know if the bubble has the precision, but I will show it. It's actually 3 items. It's 3 rupees in base, but obviously I try to show that there's a bit more to the game than most people expect. yeah, we can't go up there, but rest assured that we will eventually. And actually, it won't require as much help. I'll handle things as easily as possible. Okay. 2 pieces. There we go. Sod off. There we go. So that proves that. These are the sort of things that you would want to know if you were doing a randomizer playthrough, which is why I am revealing them to you. And it's little details like that that I love about Majora. Like, for a long time I couldn't decide on the best Zelda game. I gaslit myself into believing that the Breath of the Wild was until I replayed some of the others. Little bit of a notice that I will point out in a moment. We'll have 4 hearts by the time we confront Skull Kid. The central mask there has a hidden spot that you got to hit with Zora Link's shield barrier thing. That is incredible. Another piece of trivia. You can obtain in Majora sorry, I'm struggling with my brain a bit. In Majora's Mask, you can obtain... Trying to go through everything I could possibly be talking about. First of all, there are rupees everywhere in this game. Like, you can run into rupees everywhere. I won't be bothering with maps. They're a waste of money under the circumstances. Tingle's only good in randomize. I don't know why I can't remember. Right, I'm going to teach you a little trick for handling this area much better. Kudos to Manix for teaching me this, because it's just occurred to me that I can't do it in this cycle. But if you have any kind of mask that transforms you, or the ocarina, which you'll have both by the end of this cycle, you can cause the rupees to all fall. I can't believe I forgot that I don't have the means. It's because I always have an ocarina during first cycle in the randomizer, which you can get rid of, but I don't know why anyone would. I wouldn't want to not be able to escape certain doom and have to... Well, I wouldn't want to lose out on saving. Actually, fun piece of interesting trivia. It's really annoying that I couldn't do that without an issue. Bit of interesting trivia for you. In the modding community, a Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask joint rando is being developed. I was shown it by, again, Manix. You'll notice that a lot of my Majora stories involve him, because we have played it together for a very long time. I didn't finish making the point about the owl statue. You can activate it with Deku Sticks, by the way. And he was showing me, and it looks pretty cool. You can... You save in it. You save in the Majora section by just doing the owl statues, but it doesn't exit the game, which is great. I think that was a good change in the 3DS version, but I also think that changing it so that it was easier for people that didn't want to do something difficult was probably the wrong move, but that's just because I'm a bit traditional. I like the intensity of Majora. Like, I like the intensity of how difficult the game can be and how, well, how unforgiving for new players it is. I think that's a good thing. I think that less games should be openly forgiving to mistakes. Not because... It's more because I'm at a point where a lot of games feel a bit tedious, like busy work for me. And actually that's why I play Majora now, ironically. I play Majora as busy work, whereas in days gone by I played Majora as, well, not busy work. One thing that I will teach you that I will never actually bother with is in the Swordman's School, the gong offers an item. There isn't a precise way to actually get that item to yield. There is no way of knowing that it will be quick and easy. But I believe the item is actually, it's either 20 or 5 rupees. I just can't remember which. I'm just doing this really as a way of passing some time right now. But yeah, I adore Majora's Mask. I do. It's probably the game I've got the least issues with. Like I say, when I was young, I hated this game, and actually there was an interesting incident in which my little brother accidentally erased my save file when I was getting ever closer to beating Snowhead. In fact, I have a weird feeling I might have beaten it and gone into the Great Bay Temple. You see, me and Snowhead Temple had a very interesting relationship when I was a kid. Because Snowhead Temple, as I saw it back then, fucking sucked. Like, I didn't like the Snowhead Temple. And as such, it made me dislike Majora's Mask, because I couldn't get through the room with the clock pillars and the ice that stops you from walking across the pathway. When we get there within this playthrough, I will probably have this story out again. I'm always so good at this, aren't I? But yeah, so we actually should probably drop off the 2 rupees that we require to go to, like, to move on to an adult's wallet. Okay. An adult wallet. Right. We need to find out how much, how much bomb bag is. Right, we need 11 more rupees, and then what my aim is before we restart the cycle again is that we fill up the bank with as many rupees as possible, because there are rewards for, well, there are rewards for beating, like for packing the bank with as many rupees as possible, which I believe the limit is 5,000 in base. I mean, I have faster bank on Rando, so my limit is 1,000. So the intervals are 200, 500, 1,000. which is more than enough, really. It's more because the game is long and, you know, the reward isn't all that important in base. Right, so these targets both yield something. And so does the basket, but obviously I can't really do much about the basket. Not even going to try and do the treasure minigame at the moment. It's not a good idea. I don't like the treasure chest minigame in this game, it's a bit shit. Like, that's one of my issues with the game. It's too random. Yeah, he won't talk to what he deems a child. But because Link carries a sword in his human form, he's considered an adult. Which is incredibly weird because, well, just is a really. Oh god. One thing I never liked about Majora is that they redesigned the Kokiri sword. It was a bit weird, but I think there was actually a explanation in the manga which explains that Link I'm probably talking out my ass, but I'm pretty sure I remember there being a situation with the sword being repaired over time, with Link kind of replacing the hilt. But I prefer the Ocarina of Time hilt, because it had a red jewel in it. I call it a ruby, but I don't know where the forest would have gotten a ruby from for that. Right. It is, of course, the night of the second day, which does actually mean I've got something else to show you that I forgot to bring up while we were in that area a few minutes ago. So, for a long time, I had dreams of sorts and apparently we aren't cutting it between two videos for the cycle, so yeah. These 3 sets for 20 rupees, although I can't pick them up now, are all individual items, as you'll probably work out there's a pattern to a lot of this. I adore that. But yeah, 3 different items. When the game is randomised, they all yield something different. Okay, so okay. By the way, I have put together a kind of slate for 2023, and I think that if you want to see it, you should either go to the Discord, link in the description below, or to the official Infinity Games Twitter account, which I know I said that it was going to be important months ago, but it's not being important until now. Where I'm announcing every video that comes out on there, I'm going to be doing promotional work on there soon. But yeah, we're going to have some real good stuff this year. I don't know how I'm going to make 200 rupees before, well, before this is over. It is harder to make rupees as Deku Link. Won't deny that. Okay, so... now, you get the final rupee thingy mabob. You get the final wallet from the Ocean Bay Temple. No, not Ocean Bay Temple. Ocean Spider House. Now, we can't do that until we get the hookshot. But the good news is we can get the hookshot rather easily. Like, all we need is Goron Link for the hookshot. Well, no, we need Zora Link, but we only need Goron Link to get into Great Bay. We don't need Epona at all, really. Like, not until later, when we do the Romani stuff. And we are doing the Romani stuff. I have made an executive decision. Which sounds more assertive than it really is. Ultimately, I've decided amongst myself that I'm probably going to aim for a 100% run this time. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't actually know if I've got time. Okay. The only rules really for a regular run through is that one, I need to make sure that I'm sorry, I keep losing track of my point. Okay, I know for a fact that that's not how that's supposed to go. But yeah, once again I've lost my point. 50 rupees is very welcome right now. Okay, 116. We do need to go and do the thingy, the Deku Playground, which I would have forgotten to do again, which is embarrassing, frankly. I'm thinking that we do enough of the Andrew and Cathay quest in next cycle to take care of getting the Keaton mask. So, wait, no, not next cycle. Next cycle I will do a little bit of it, but not much. But I'm going to do the stuff with the bomb mask. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. So yeah, tell you what, this is what was really missing, like, from games like Breath of the Wild. Some good mini games. Like, there are a couple. Like, you got shield surfing, which shield surfing isn't inherently bad. I quite like it, but I needed more mini games. Like the Deku Playground. Ugh, I had to cock it up, didn't I? Right. Luckily, I've got all day. I've probably been watching a few too many Lindsay Lohan movies from the 2000s and 90s lately. I don't know why. I've always liked her as an actress, like, well, no, I liked her in Mean Girls, but, like, I haven't really been following her filmography, if that makes sense. Then, over Christmas, I watched, Falling for Christmas, I think it was, with her in. And I sort of enjoyed that. It was a bit meh, really. Right, we've assembled a new heart container. We've been banned from the Deku Playground. Oh, how I mourn for my lost opportunities. Bazinga. But no, like, I just quite enjoy her films. Her old stuff before the arrest. I don't really remember the details of that. I don't really care, but like, you know, I get the feeling her face is going to be appearing on the channel a little bit. But yeah, I have things I need to say this year. I have plans for this year, and they are big. Big, 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 big. And the slight's part of that. Ugh, I miss having a chair with a back to it. My back. It's in pieces. Sitting at this bloody chair. Once we have the Song of Time, it's going to be a bit easier to navigate things. Okay. Really not quite sure how I'm going to maneuver this, but... But yeah, no. So, dev stories that include Miyamoto make him sound like an absolute ghoul. Can we just be all very, very clear on this? Like, I obviously don't hate the guy completely. He's done a lot of good for the industry, but he's a bit... How do I put this? He's a bit too traditional for his own good. I will also note, as an important piece of information for everybody involved, Brill, that's done me good. Yeah, I have got to point this out. Certain areas change enough over a day cycle that they then become different, if that makes sense. Like, the items in, say, the snowballs in the Twin Island thing in Snowhead, those snowballs yield different items each day. Not all of them yield items, in fact hardly any of them do. But same goes for the big snowball that eventually becomes the Goron Elder on the third day. That's right by the lad to Darmani's tomb. That situation is like, that is a very interesting one. Sorry, brain. That's a different item between day 1 and day 2. I haven't got much else to do but collect rupees in this time. Gotta wait another 4 in-game hours. But yeah, it's certainly fun. It's quite funny on the 3rd day. Everything's so empty. You know, it's supposed to be the carnival of time. Instead, it's evacuation day because things have gone so horribly wrong that no one wants to stay unless you convince Andrew to. The only place that seems to still have the person that's supposed to be in there is Cafe, who, well, I don't really want to touch on how Cafe is probably feeling with 0 help, but also he's not even there. He's in a corner. He just locks up that room tight. Probably because he leaves a diary in there. Not one that you can read, but a diary all the same. Yeah. We are approaching the end of this episode, which pretty much proves that there's about an hour to the first cycle. See, I do understand why people don't like this game. I do. I think they're wrong, but I'm not that arrogant. I don't think they're wrong as such. I just heavily disagree. Like, I've been pushing very, very heavily recently against Breath of the Wild. Like, I've been pushing very heavily. Ooh. One glitch I've never been able to perform is 4th day. That's not something I'm going to be trying this time. I don't know why, but this feels different. Like it's lacking something. The hell? It's Link down there. That's weird. I don't really know what that was about. I'm gonna have to watch that back, aren't I? 57:30 onwards. Okay. Go drop off what few rupees I was able to acquire into the bank and go from there. Gonna try to avoid using save states if possible as well, as they screw up actual saves. Things are moving very quickly. Don't really have time to go to the laundry pool to get another 5 rupees out of it, do I? Okay. Also, the magic pots on top of the clock tower are also huge. Like, they're also actual items. And I believe every magic... No, not every magic pot. That's nonsense. The magic pots in the Goron racetrack are... 438. It's been a very long time since I've done first cycle, but I'm going to have to run some checks soon to make sure that this isn't just a copy of the game I'm using, which may have broken a few things. I'm not sure why. I just get a weird feeling it might have. Oh, this won't surprise anyone, but what's in the what's in the ocarina counts as 2 items because of the Song of Time. Yeah, it's still worth visiting School Kid in a randomizer setting. But yeah, because the Ocarina of Time and the Song of Time are 2 separate things, you get them both together. Like you get them both upon your loading of a randomizer seed, and you get everything else immediately. Is my point. Okay, so okay. Let's go. Leo! Leo! And then time to see Princess Zelda for what is the only time in the game. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm acting like a hyper 4-year-old when I actually have no energy at all. Do 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 do. I'm praying that your journey be a safe one. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so I was hoping my phone wasn't incredibly slow. So we've remembered the Song of Time. Okay. We've got past the most boring thing of all time. I don't like unskippable text. I know this game inside out and back to front. I've just tried to use the ocarina as though it's... Yeah, I just tried to use the ocarina like I'm on a randomizer, because it'd be assigned to the down button on the pad. So yeah. Save and return to the dawn of the first day. One day, when you are older, you may be hit by a boulder. But yeah, so we win. I win. Eternally. Yeah, so much for us to do. So much. But yeah, I think, because it's saved as we played the Song of Time, I think I am safe to just quit. I don't know why I'm reading the text now. It's going to make me read it again in a moment. Well, I say in a moment, I mean later. Whenever I pick this up. So yeah, I'm done for today. I have enjoyed this. Not as much as I'm going to enjoy the rest of it. like as I'm refining my route. And actually, when I do the Ocarina of Time playthrough, I'm doing a different route on there too. It's not really a refining of the route, it's more just an outright change. Hope you'll appreciate that. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, you like, subscribe, follow the socials, join the Discord, all of that jazz, and you come and join me for what is going to be the best year of Infinity games yet. Even better than 2020, the golden age. So yeah, have fun. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.